Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the channel, Reading Ideas. And I've got a great reading idea for you. I'm just laughing as a side thing that I must have tried taping this about 12 times. Everything's kind of going wrong. So here's 12 times lucky. Okay, so the book is Those About to Die by Daniel P Mannix. Daniel P Mannix, and it's Mannix. It's a very, very good book. This copy says first printed 1960, so I think it was written just before that. And it's all about the Roman games. He's researched it very, very well. And it's not written like a history book, so it's not on the 4th of August, BC, this happened, and then it's not written like that at all. It's kind of written like short stories put together into an overall book. So for example, he researched a lot about the Colosseum in Rome, where the biggest center of gladiators, and he's then done a day in the life of the Colosseum. So how the awnings worked, to protect you from the sun, from the food sellers to the people in the basement looking after the animals, about to let them go to attack whatever. Where the gladiators were, and so it's very, very, it's very well done. There were different types of gladiators, so you can see on the front, fabulous artwork on this. There's one guy with a net and a shield, and I think he's got a sword, and there's another guy with a trident. So they were kind of standard types of gladiators. I think the guy with the net had a slight advantage, so obviously there's a lot of betting involved. I'll put up on screen as well some of the other book covers that are out there, but the artwork on that is fabulous. You don't normally get it that good. So it is a very, very good book. So I'll read you so imagine you've picked up the book, and you're going to get the kind of the sales pitch from the publisher, and perhaps Mr. Daniel P himself. So on the front, the full truth about the sadistic Roman games. 2 armies of 5,000 men fought to the death. The show was lit at night by human torches. The costliest, cruelest spectacle of all time. On the back, Hail Caesar, we who are about to die salute you. So that's what the gladiators would say. They'd be stood there in the arena. Hail Caesar, we who are about to die salute you. Born of a corrupt and licentious age, the Roman games were the cruelest, costliest spectacle of all time, providing the emotional outlets for the discontented mob. The Emperor Marcus spent nearly £1 million a year on gladiators. Back when it was a lot of money, fans threw themselves on the funeral pyres of favourite charioteers. In one day, 1,000 stags, 1,000 ostriches, 1,000 boars, 100 lions and 300 bears were slaughtered in the arena. So, I mean, this thing was huge. I mean, if you're talking about, football games, the World Cup, the Olympic Games, this thing would dwarf it, absolutely dwarf it. It would go on for weeks, months, I think. Under certain emperors, when it kind of reached its pinnacle. There's talk of a lot of North Africa being stripped of stripped of the animals to go and get provide entertainment, and end up dying in the arenas. I think I'm right in saying that the Sahara Desert expanded because the Romans chopped down a lot of the trees in North Africa. So this thing was huge. It wasn't just gladiators, teams of gladiators. one of the biggest things that they liked was chariot racing, and this went on for hundreds of years. Now you've got football fans who support the same team as the father and the grandfather. Well, this was the same for the charioteers. So you'd have people who were lifelong blues and greens. So it would be you even had people who had it on the gravestone. So here lies Maximus, a loyal blue, a lifelong blue. So it was absolutely huge. Other things in the book, he talks about, there's a section on an animal trainer, a bestiarius, something like that, Cophorus, and there's a big section on him and how he trains animals, and a kind of a good story about what happens to him. So it really is very well written. Now there's I'll do a spoiler later on, so you can see how it's written. I'll read out the start of chapter 1, so you get an idea of how he's writing. So I'll tell you when that's coming up, and you can skip that if you wish. But yeah, so it's a strong recommendation. Definitely one to have in the library. It'll definitely be one that you'll reread. It's a bit gory in places and a bit weird in places, because this was the centre of the Roman life of the Roman citizens, keeping them occupied. The Roman mob, as they were called, had developed over hundreds of years. They were the first citizens in the world. They could vote on certain things. They had certain rights, which of course, the other people in the empire and slaves weren't allowed, and the emperors felt that they had to placate them, entertain them. So this was huge part of the way of life. And like a lot of people who get extreme power, it can come with corruption. So not even great emperors had to placate the mob. So, but some of them let their full vices reign, if you want to say that, and so did the mob. So, I mean, just the idea of people fighting to the death for your entertainment, and setting lions on Christians, and crikey knows whatever else that they did. We'll never know the full extent. But I wouldn't say it's a hard read in places, but you kind of, you can feel your own morality wobbling as you kind of read certain sections and what people were prepared to do. But we've seen that throughout history, haven't we? So it's a fabulous read. Definitely one for the library, and if you can get your hands on a couple of copies, then even better, and pass it on to people that you think might appreciate it. I asked the local bookshop to get me, so a little shout out to the Old Pier Bookshop, Morecambe. And it got me a really good condition one, but it's got the same cover as the other one, but I'm happy to have it. Inside, a little Christmas thing, and it says last read July 91. Always nice to have little things like that in. Little writing there, wanted for reference, and in the back is really nicely done. Again, it says this book is wanted for reference in pencil, and it says the name John Bleasdale. But how about that there? Oop, let's get that right. So, Ave Caesar, Moritori te saluton. Hail Caesar, we who are about to die salute you. Absolutely fantastic, great read. Definitely one to have if you can hunt yourself out a copy. So, perfect way to end. It's a thumbs up from me. Not a thumbs down. Hail Caesar. See you on the next.